You home with VoigtJohnson Real Estate. We'll hear from Heidi Voigt a little bit later on, but Brandon Johnson is with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
By the way, I want to remind everybody that you should listen for this program Thursday mornings at 7:23, Saturdays again at 7:50 here on KNSI. Start that home search at VoigtJohnson.com. Brandon, what's on the docket for today?
Well, I thought we'd talk about, it's kind of property tax season here approaching the spring of the year, and I thought we'd dive into what's going on locally with property taxes.
Taxes, everybody's least favorite subject,
Absolutely.
Right? But you may be able to bring a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel here.
Yeah, I guess this time of year, a lot of us get questions, specifically, you get your tax statement, assessed value in the mail,
right.
And you get a little bit of sticker shock, right? Especially the last 2 years, and
Yeah.
I know in the last week they've been coming out.
You know, and it's a double-edged sword, right? Because everybody likes to see their property values go up.
Absolutely.
But the result is maybe paying a little bit more.
So traditionally, kind of the questions or the process has been, you can challenge your value to the county to work with the local assessor and get that assessed value lowered. However, because of where we're at in the last couple of years with property values, a lot of people, it's very challenging to do so right now.
Right.
A couple of people have talked to me in the last couple of weeks, and I've looked at their home and said, you know, if we were to put it on the market, you're likely well at that value or above. So it's a challenging proposition to get the county to lower that value right now in most cases.
And we've kind of talked about this before in the past, past programs. It all boils down to the comps, right? Square footage comps, all that kind of stuff. Location?
Correct. They're looking similar to how a realtor would value. They're licensed appraisers as well too. They're looking at a little bit different time frames for assessed values, but for all practical purposes, it's the same process.
Okay, so I said you may be able to give us a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah,
don't mean to put the pressure on. What have you got for
us? In the early 80s, the Minnesota State Legislature came up with a solution called the Targeting Property Tax Refund.
Okay.
And it really hasn't been appropriate for any of us in the last 20 to 25 years. It was created in 1981, I believe, when, imagine this, inflation was very high in the early 80s.
You know what? Earlier this week was the anniversary of the 20% rate. Okay?
Yeah.
You think mortgage rates are high now? I bought a house when it was 20%.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in Minnesota, the Targeting Property Tax Refund says that if your property taxes increase by 12% or more year over year, you can apply for a tax refund for 60% of that overage of over 12%.
I've never heard of this before.
It's not known, it's not put out there because it hasn't been appropriate. When's the last time your property tax has gone up by more than 12%?
Okay,
they really haven't.
Yeah.
Until we're in this inflationary state, correct?
Right.
But now that's what we're just trying to do is get the word out there. This is going to be a better avenue than challenging the value of your property to the local county.
So who do we talk to about this? Our tax preparer?
Yeah, you want to, and again, I just wanted the disclaimer, I'm not a licensed tax preparer, but basically if your assessed value is increased more than 12% in the prior year, you are able to receive a rebate of 60% of that overage, and there's no income restriction. So like the homestead credit, that's based on your income, and there's thresholds based on your income. There's no income restriction. The only restrictions are the improved value or the increase in value cannot be attributed to an improvement on the home, meaning you put a new addition on the home and that
basement, you finish the basement, build a garage, whatever.
And it has to be, you can't have claimed rent on the property, you have to lived in it, so it has to be, for all intents and purposes, your primary residence.
Okay, again, you are not a tax professional, but as a realtor, oh my gosh, this would make a difference to a lot of your clients.
Yeah, absolutely, and like I said, when people are coming up to us asking about, I need to challenge my value, I'm going to them and saying, you know, I would recommend going down this avenue as a tax relief rather than, you can still challenge it. In some cases it's probably appropriate, but this is going to be more appropriate to do so. And a couple things is actually in the state legislature now, they're working on improving those thresholds. So there's a bill, it hasn't passed yet, there's a bill in the legislature now that's looking to lower that threshold from 12% to 8%. and currently your rebate is capped at $1,000 a year, which I don't know that you'd have to have a heck of a property to get that full rebate, but they're looking at increasing the value, the capped rebate at $2,000 versus $1,000.
Okay, I hate to be like a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I wonder why they are working on that change if there's something that they know that we don't know when it comes to increased property taxes.
Well, that's a whole different discussion. I don't think it has to do with they have things down the line for increasing property taxes. That goes back to, you know, in 08, 09, and 2010 when we were in the housing crisis.
Sure.
The municipalities still needed to collect the tax roll for the roads and all of that, right? And when property values were falling, the tax revenues were dropping dramatically.
Sure.
They still needed to relatively collect the same amount of money, so in a lot of cases they increased the mill rate, they increased the tax rate.
Sure.
I don't know that they've really reassessed that tax rate to come back down because of values, so that's part of it as well too.
Well, and the other thing is, again, they may be, right after they did this, they may be reassessing all of that stuff, and the 12 may be way too high. We may be able to benefit more people if we drop it down.
Correct.
Right?
Correct, and a greater rebate as well too.
Exactly
so
right.
The website, again, I'm not a tax professional, so I would ask you to consult your tax professional. But the other thing is to go to the State Department of Revenue's website, and that site is just revenue.state.mn.us, and that all this information is on their website. How to apply for that, how to get that credit, is on revenue.state.mn.us.
You may not be a tax professional, but I'll tell you what, you're teaching a lot of people a lot of good stuff today. A teacher, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Folks, don't miss Taking You Home with VoigtJohnson Real Estate. We do it every Thursday morning at 7:23, Saturday mornings at 7:50 here on KNSI. And remember to start your home search at VoigtJohnson.com. Taking You Home, VoigtJohnson Real Estate, KNSI.
7:30.